It's a vinyl fence. And I was like, I'll just cut that with a cutting mat. You know when you have a lot of pressure and it just gives way?
Yeah.
That happened, but downwards. And I almost damaged the good part of the fence because that would have cost me like hundreds of dollars. So on this side, I was like, I'm going to do it upwards. I was cutting it and then the pressure was there and then it just gave way and just right through my hand. So this fleshy part in between your thumb and the finger, it just went straight through. And when I cut it, the blood sprayed my face. Like it was like a warm spray of blood. And I didn't really realize what it was. And I thought I just nicked myself. I thought I just accidentally cut myself and I'm like, damn. I look at my hand and it's squirting out. The blood. I go to the car and I grab this 5-gallon bucket. It's empty and I put my hand over it to like stop making a mess. And when I look, I can see my flesh, my nerves, my muscles, and my bone. There's no reception. I'm by myself. And then all of a sudden, I can't feel my fingers start going numb. That's when I kind of started freaking out because I'm like, did I just up my life? Like, is this it? I started thinking about how I'm never going to be able to grab a basketball or lift weights. That started freaking me out and my heart started pumping. I think extra blood flow, it started squirting even more from my head. And I literally told myself, I'm like, just lock in. And I did. I felt like my back gets straighter. I took my shirt off. I tied it around my wrist and made a tourniquet. And I used my teeth to tighten it like this. You know, I checked my phone. I Google closest hospital to me. I get in the driver's seat. And as I start driving, I start feeling so sleepy. I was like, fuck. And I look in the bucket. I filled it up this much of blood so far. Finally, my older sister calls me. And she's like, oh my God, Melvin, what the fuck? Like, we've been trying to call you for like the last 5 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I'm headed to the hospital. I'm headed to this hospital. She's like, you're driving? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I parked the car and I walked in, told the lady, excuse me, I need to check in. And she's just like, yeah, sit down. Do you have your ID? I was like, yeah. And she sees my hand. She's like, oh my God, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. That's why I'm here. She's like, from 1 to 10, what's your pain level? I'm like an 8. And she's like, really? Because you're surprisingly calm right now. They take me inside, banded me up, but they discovered I severed a big artery in my hand. And that's where all the blood was coming from. When they were cleaning the wound, they had to like spray like iodine and medication on it. Ooh. That burned. But then for the stitches, they had to numb you. So they took this huge needle and they opened up my flesh and lifted it up and injected it right into my flesh. And it was so painful. I couldn't even breathe. That's how painful it was. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I was like screaming. I was trying not to yell. And he was like, don't worry, you won't feel anything in about 50, 60 seconds. Yeah. And then he was right. In about like a minute, I couldn't feel shit. And then he was just like lifting up my flesh to put the needle for the stitches and stuff like that. But he's just like, you're very lucky that it wasn't 2 inches higher because then you would cut your finger off, or 2 inches lower because then you would have cut your wrist. And he's like, if you would cut your wrist, you would not be talking to me right now. And I'm just like, okay. I'm like, for sure. But yeah,
you're a survivor, dude. You're a survivor.